Good evening, and welcome to another live streaming of Scary Bazaar. As always, I am your hostess, Miss Spooky, and today I've switched gears again a little bit, and we're going to be doing a Valentine's Day inspired kind of quick painting piece. I probably won't get it done today because I know I'm going to have to stop. I've got dinner in the oven and the boy in the tub, and I'm going to have to take care of those at some point. But I'm hoping to at least get it done within the span of 2 to 3 live streams, and then I'm going to try to not only post those live streams in parts here, but then string them all together into one piece and start posting to YouTube, because I think I should totally do that. Yes, I still plan on doing the Sailor Moon thing, but I've decided to put that one on hold for just a short while so that I can do something kind of Halloween themed for you guys, or not Halloween themed, Valentine's Day themed, although it is still kind of along the lines of being spooky. This is Scary Bazaar after all. And so what I've put together here is I wanted to keep the subject matter a little bit simple to make it quicker to go along. I did have a whole background kind of thing going on. I ended up erasing all of it. So we've got an obsessed ex-girlfriend succubus with her boyfriend or her ex-boyfriend's picture, and then a bloody Valentine message that says "mine forever," but you can only really see like the top part of it because she's crouched all sexy kind of off on this side over here. I've already got my paint colors mixed up here. Hopefully this should be the only colors that I'm going to need. I'm not going to try to add too much more to this because one of the good ways to kind of keep everything in your piece connected and flowing is to kind of use a similar color palette kind of throughout the piece a little bit. So I've got it's an 18 tray egg carton here, and I filled up every single one of them with the colors that I think I might need. And when I was mixing them, I first started with base colors I felt I might need for the background, and then I moved on to base skin tone colors, and then I moved on to the reds for kind of the bloody Valentine part. After that I moved on to kind of base hair colors here. And then from there I mixed in some other general colors that I thought I might need: grays, blacks, some pink, white, that kind of thing. So we'll probably end up mixing more colors for the piece as we go along, but we're going to try to mix them from the 18 colors that we've already got set up here. Now then, so I'm going to plan to start from the background, and we'll start with the back and kind of work our way forward a little bit. I'm a little upset I don't have a spray bottle anymore, because when you're working with water-based paints like the acrylic, having a spray bottle is a good thing to help kind of keep, your surface a little bit moist while you're working, especially with the paper, because the paper is going to absorb and disperse that water very fast. You've got to kind of be careful with it because paper also has a tendency to get more saturated than like a canvas or something does, so you could end up with it crumbling or crinkling, warping, that kind of thing if you're not careful. So you've definitely got to pick your papers carefully. I use either the acrylic papers or the mixed media papers when doing paintings like this, because they seem to hold up a whole lot better than any of the other paper. Like, you definitely wouldn't want to use sketch paper or the newsprint paper or anything like that, because you're not gonna be able to paint on that kind of thing. I got 2 cups here, one with chai tea and one for paint water. Got to try not to get them confused here. So let's get started. Trying to figure out where I'm wanting to start first, or what color I'm wanting to start with here first. I think we're going to kind of start with this darker gray purple I've got going on, and I'm wanting to kind of go around the outline with her a little bit. I did have a few issues with the inking. I started inking it and then I had to stop to do adult stuff. Trying to do this without shaking the table too bad because I'm wondering if the table shaking, which makes the camera or my phone shake while I'm doing it, is having some sort of effect on the quality of the picture that's coming out. And I know that I was shaking it a lot doing the color pencil piece with Sailor Moon. So I'm trying to do this with as little shaking as possible to see if the quality ends up coming out better, if that might be a factor. But I still appear to be getting a little bit of shaking going on here. I hope everybody's having a good Valentine's Day, whether you're spending it alone or with somebody else. Nothing wrong with spending Valentine's Day alone, by the way. You just take yourself out on a date, buy yourself chocolates, you know, who cares. I also seem to have gotten a pretty good setup with the camera right here where you can kind of... I've got pretty much the whole thing in view, which is awesome. I've been having a lot of trouble getting like the whole piece in view recently, but I'm slowly working out the kinks with that as well. I do plan on going into a bit of Valentine's Day discussion as far as dating and dating safety. What actually made me think of that is my husband's been watching clips from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia on YouTube recently, and one of them popped up. I can't remember the exact title of it, but the gist of it was dating the dentist's way, and some of the things that he was talking about as far as his techniques for getting girls are actually, it reminded me of a really bad date I went on once in college. I should have known. I mean, I found the guy on Tinder. And then we're going to kind of do this in chunks because I don't want the acrylic to dry out too much here, you know, as I go, because we want to be able to, you know, kind of blend it together here a little bit. You know, the light and the dark. And I am kind of wanting to do more of a chunky blended background with this instead of a kind of smoother gradient blend. So that will work in my favor a little bit with the paper is going to dry a little bit faster than a canvas would, and I'm not able to wet it because, like, I don't know, I break spray bottles so bad. I don't know how, like, I manage to do that, but I do. I break spray bottles. It's like I'll use them for maybe a month and then they're broken and I've got to go buy another one. Thank goodness you can get them at the Dollar Tree for like $1 because I go through them super fast. And come up because I'm wanting to drag the... What are you doing out of the tub?
I was almost ready to get out.
You've barely been in there. You haven't even been in there for 5 minutes. You get your little butt back in the tub and go get yourself clean. Give me a hug. I know your games.
What?
I said I know your little games and you're a sweetie, but you need to be back in the tub. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I can't live stream anything from start to finish. Back in the tub with you, child.
Can you give me a pickle roll?
A pickle?
Yeah, I was hungry.
You want to eat a pickle in the bathtub?
Yeah.
Alright, hold on. I'm filling in this one section between the wing and the body where the background is still going to be located at. Instead of rinsing my brush, let's go ahead and throw this excess paint. That way it doesn't go to waste. We'll just kind of, there we go. Okay, now I'll go get you a pickle.
What is that, Mama?
That's chai tea. Gotta go get the boy a pickle. Come on, pickle time.
I'll eat it wet.
Yep, you go wait in the tub, and I will bring you a pickle. Go, in the tub.
Only in the cup.
Okay, take that. Just get in the tub. Here, take the pickle. Go. It's like, I don't want to say that anything in that date went dangerous wrong, but it was definitely a bad date, and it just sucked. Again, found the dude on Tinder. It's back in college. Should have known better. Don't date guys you find on Tinder. But before we get into that, I've got a little work story for you guys. Yay! That you all might find interesting. And this actually happened this week. It was Tuesday, I believe it was. And as much as I greatly dislike working in customer service and food, I mean, Starbucks technically counts as food, right? Occasionally something like this will happen that makes the whole job almost worth it. Makes all the Karens and stuff almost worth dealing with. Anyway, and of course, stuff like this only happens when I'm scheduled to work by myself, which is also crazy, in my opinion, but that just seems to be how it goes. Anyway, so I'm working by myself. I'm the only one working afternoon, evening shift, the only closer, and the day started off pretty normal. It's not too busy because I don't work at like a big kind of name brand Starbucks. I work at a little Starbucks kiosk in the Kroger store. So, and there's, on top of that, there's an actual Starbucks that's like right down the street from the Kroger, so we don't really get too busy. We don't have a whole lot that we do. Most people prefer to go to the real Starbucks where they actually train their baristas to make coffee. It's like none of us at the Kroger Starbucks know what the crap we're doing. We're all just winging it. Anywho, say it was probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon is when this happened. I'm working and some meth head chick comes in. We've seen her and her boyfriend in the store occasionally. They've been kicked out a few times for stealing and eating food right off the shelves and stuff like that. Anyway, she comes in and she is just, well, she's filthy for one thing, poor thing, you know. It's like, I don't know what kind of choices she made in life to lead her to that kind of lifestyle, but it does kind of make you feel bad for a person. She comes in, she's filthy, she's crying, she comes up to the Starbucks and she's giving me this crazy sob story, just, I mean, everything you can think of. Her sister died, she's homeless, she hasn't slept in 4 days, she doesn't have any money, she can't see her kids, her boyfriend beats her, just, you know, her phone and all her money was stolen, just like everything. Just everything out of the book. She's given me this story. And, you know, and she's begging to borrow my phone because she swears up and down she needs to call her mom to come pick her up and save her, which might be true, might not be true. All I know is I'm not giving and she's a self-proclaimed meth head, she's admitted to it, you know, it's like everybody knows who she is. Like, I'm not giving her my phone because, like, she might be telling me the truth, but it's far more likely she's either going to A, take my phone to set up some kind of drug deal, or B, take my phone and run away with it to trade for drugs. So, I didn't give her my phone. I told her if she really needed to use a phone that bad, she could go to the customer service desk and they would be more than happy to let her use the phone that they have at the desk to call her mom. Well, she never went to the customer service desk to use the phone, for one thing. So she's sitting there for about, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes giving me this crazy story, talking up a storm. And she's been in a couple times before this, like I said, and she has been up to the Starbucks. If it's the same woman I'm thinking of, because sometimes it can be hard to tell because, you know, everybody's wearing masks and stuff, but I'm pretty sure it's the same one. It's like she's been back in the tub.
Mama, can I get out when I tell you that I can get out?
Well, you're not getting out now. Look at you. You haven't even washed your hair or anything. You got to get back in the tub and wash your hair, mister. Yeah. Mwah. Go back to the tub. Wash your hair.
And then I'll be done.
Maybe. Go play for a little bit, bud. Go. You're getting water all over the floor here.
Mama, remember that game called Red Mist? Like Squidward, like there's like a headless Squidward, like it shoots a head.
I guess my son's telling the story now. Yeah, buddy, I know the game you're talking about, but go.
Mama, like Squidward and like the headless Squidward kills the real Squidward.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Hey,
Squidward.
you need to get back in the bathtub and finish bathing, please. Mama's doing a live stream and she's telling stories, so you need to get back in the tub and wash yourself.
This is the final ask. Mama, like Squidward's standing in a room, and then the headless Squidward kills the Squidward. That's real.
Right.
You try not to burp in the bathtub.
I mean, you can burp in the bathtub. That's not going to do anything, buddy. You can burp in the bathtub.
Mama, when I wash my hair and I tell you, Mama, I'm ready to get out, then I can get out, right?
I mean, in a little bit, but yeah, we'll get you out after a decent amount of time for you to be getting clean and stuff.
Mama,
But isn't Rexy in there all by himself?
huh? Oh, he's not afraid alone.
Oh, still, go, buddy. Go, or you're going to make Mama upset. And I'm going to have to deal with you if you don't go do as you're told.
I'm going.
Thank you. Anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, she's been in a couple of times before, like 2 or 3 times before, and she'll come up and she'll order, you know, the cheapest thing on the menu, just a small plain coffee, and the whole time I'm making it, she'll stand there and just stare at the tip jar, talking about all the money that's in the tip jar. She's the reason I keep all the money pushed way, way, way down into the tip jar. No, it's, get in the tub. Get in the tub.
I washed my hair, did I?
No, you didn't wash your hair.
I did.
Lancer, you are about to be in lots of trouble. Get in the bathtub, please. Go finish taking a bath. You're not done.
Mama,
You've barely been in there for like 5 minutes. You need to get back in the bathtub, play with your toys for a little bit, and get yourself cleaned up.
but Mama, I got my hair wet.
That's not good enough. Go.
I didn't get all of it wet. Got some of it. I choked on a pickle, Mama.
Lancer, go.
No, 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 no.
swear next time he gets out of that bathtub and tries to argue with me, I'm going to end up whooping his butt on live stream here. Ain't nothing wrong with it. I know some parents are against spankings, but I grew up getting whooped. Sometimes you gotta do it. That's how I feel. Anyway, so yeah, so this woman, you know, she's come in a couple times, and she usually comes in and stares at the tip jar like a hungry wild animal. She's the reason I keep all the money shoved down the tip jar. Anyway, this time, she comes in. She's telling me this crazy sob story. She's filthy. She's crying. She's wanting my phone. Again, I don't give her my phone. I tell her she can use the one up at customer service if she really needs a phone. For like the first 5 minutes of her doing this, her boyfriend standing behind her mouthing at me, you know, don't believe her, she's lying, she's crazy. And, you know, that obviously didn't help her situation. And then he kind of wanders off somewhere. Well, eventually she finally stops trying to beg me for my phone because she realizes she's not going to get it off me. And I end up giving her like a small free ice water because we can give the water away for free, and I wish her good luck, and she goes on her way. Anyway, as she's leaving, she says, I just gotta go to the bathroom real quick. I swear I'm not going in there to get high. I just have to pee. I swear I'm not getting high. You know, and I think, whatever, I'm a minimum wage employee. What do I care? It's not my problem. So she goes into the bathroom. She's in there for about an hour, maybe a little bit less. And then she comes back out of the bathroom high as balls, just screaming. Just absolutely screaming at anyone and everyone who is near her. She ends up getting this little old man who I had rung up for a coffee maybe 2 or 3 minutes earlier. She's got him all cornered up against the sushi bar. She's all up in his face, just yelling at him. She's incoherent. She can't understand a word she says. She's just losing her mind, flying off the handle. And it ended up taking 4 of the security guards and 2 of the managers to escort her off the property. And her boyfriend's just kind of following behind, shaking his head like, oh my God, really? Again? Just nuts. So, yeah, meth heads at work. That was kind of an interesting day, as you can imagine. Anyway, so what I'm doing here, I don't know if you can tell because I don't have the highest quality camera on my cell phone, but I'm using 3 different colors to kind of create a bit of a chunky gradient because I'm not blending it in super fine. I've got my dark purple blue gray going on that I've used to kind of outline my succubus with. And then I've got kind of a medium warm purple gray kind of in the center. And then up along the edges here, I've got a bit of a lighter, it's actually one of the colors I mixed up for her primary skin tone, but it's kind of like a, was it cream or light flesh with a bit of a light purple that I've kind of mixed together, and I'm using that kind of around up here in the corners a little bit to create that gradient look here. And how we're doing this technique, as you can see, is I'm being careful kind of around the edges of her, you know. But and with the rest of it, I'm just kind of using some broad kind of brush strokes I'm brushing the colors in. I'm blending them a little bit, but not too much. That way there is a little bit of blending going on, but it also kind of maintains this kind of chunky, wild look for the background. I guess wild's a good word that I'm looking for here. While simultaneously dealing with the kid who refuses to take a bath. So this live stream piece that I'm working on here might end up taking a little bit longer than I thought. I was hoping to at least get all of the background and the floor and all of this done today at the very least, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like I might be able to get the background done, and then I'm going to have to wish you guys farewell so I can go beat a child. Yes, you. He ran back in the bathtub. I'm not going to beat him. He might get spanked, though. I'm serious about that part. There we go. And there are some areas where the paint is coming in just a little bit thinner on the paper because it's absorbing into the paper a little bit. And so I'm also trying to layer in on those pieces to thicken up the paint in that area just a little bit. 'Cause that was one of the things that I did learn in my college classes. I didn't ever graduate in my fine arts classes because I knew my scholarships wouldn't last that long. You've probably heard this story before, but I did try to make sure to take as many of the painting courses and the art courses as possible. They usually tell you when going to college to take all your general courses first and get those out of the way, which if I knew I was going to be able to afford to be in there the whole time, I probably would have, but because I knew I wouldn't, I took all of the painting and art courses first to cram as many of those in as I could before my scholarship money ran out. Because as you guys know, I do not think it's very, very wise to go into a heap ton of debt for an art degree. Especially when it's one of those things where you don't need it. There are plenty of artists, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, just look all over, that don't have art degrees and are doing just fine and are very successful at it. Degrees are for something like becoming a scientist or a lawyer or something like that, you know. It's not like I don't necessarily believe they're needed for art so much. But taking classes in art can be a good thing because learning the fundamentals is always important with any skill, which isn't something you even necessarily have to go to college for. There are a lot of places that just kind of offer art classes, community college. Well, that's another college with community centers. There's a lot of just kind of art communities kind of thing, you know, where you can do a lot of that stuff. He's supposed to be taking a bath, but he's trying my patience. He's refusing to be in the bath while I'm doing this live stream. So I'm pretty happy with all of that. I like the way the paint kind of flares out from her with the dark into the medium into the light. I think it's a really nice effect. I'm not wanting to do the same effect for the ground. I am wanting to do a smoother type gradient with the floor to create a bit of a separation. I'm also wanting to use a little bit of a lighter color palette down here.
You're getting water everywhere.
I know. It's like I'm trying to do a thing and he's supposed to be taking a bath.
Quit splashing water all over the house.
I already told him I was going to turn this live stream off and beat him if he didn't stay in the tub.
Oh.
Working on painting this. Yeah, he's trying me. Little monster.
Right.
I got those ribs in though. I don't know, I can already kind of smell them. I don't know if you can.
A little bit. Man, there's such a strong draft right
It's got to be that door. It's not put in properly.
That helps make it better putting the blanket there in space.
Yeah. So I'm wanting to use this blue that I've mixed up too, but now that I'm looking at it, I don't know if this blue is quite the right shade for what I'm wanting here. And I'm going to not cover her or this part, but I am going to paint over the rest of it, but not so dark that I won't be able to see the lines, because I want it to look like blood paint or red paint over top of the floor area, if that makes sense. Now let's kind of, especially kind of up here around the edges some, let's kind of feather out this a little bit, and then we'll get it kind of into a little sharper line where it gets darker. There we go. So that looks pretty good like that. There we go. And I feel like I can still just see the lines of the Valentine underneath the blue paint. And then we're going to come around her a little bit here. Oh, and this is the type of paintbrush I'm using to do this with. I don't know the names of the paintbrushes. I just somewhat know how to use them. And this is, I think, is going to be one of those areas where I was talking about where I'm going to have to mix in a little bit more of my other colors here. So kind of off to the side, I'm going to pull out some of that blue. And another thing that my art professor in college says is you never really want to mix anything with straight white, but I do anyway. It seems that, you know, if you're doing it in very small amounts, that it seems to be just fine. You know, but it's definitely, when mixing with black and white, you definitely want to do it in very small amounts, and you want to do it sparingly. We covered up her hand a little bit, you know, that's okay. And we're going to come back in and just kind of dot and feather, dot and feather. I've noticed that a lot of brush techniques, like if you do makeup a lot, or you like to put on makeup a whole lot, a lot of brush techniques that you use with your makeup can also translate into painting. I'm going to get some more of this dark blue here, and I'm wanting to create that gradient again without making it so dark I'm not going to be able to see the pen work underneath for when I come back in and paint the red detail into the ground here. It's like we came over her hand a little bit, you know, that's fine. And then I'll kind of do it on the other side here. We're going to do a little bit of the dark blue kind of around her hands, and definitely up underneath where she's crouching, and this one leg a little bit. And then feather it back down, and then I'm going to mix even more white into this that I've got here and kind of feather it out along the bottom here just a little bit. But I'm still not completely happy with that shade of blue that I ended up with. I might Let's just, I'm going to try something here real quick. I might end up screwing the whole thing up, but I think I'm just going to come in and dot in a little bit of this purple that I've got, the darker purple, and kind of try to drag it down through the blue a little bit. I just got a text from work. I made the mistake of joining the barista group chat, and they, like, sometimes it goes quiet for a while, and then sometimes it's just texting all the time. It's actually been pretty quiet for a while. Like, I'll get texts at 3 in the morning that wake me up from these people. And I do think we want to keep more light on this side, because I think I'm going to have my light coming from kind of over here. So we're going to have more of the light blue over here and more of the dark blue over here for that. But I'm going to keep the background just kind of the chunky abstract gradient that I've already got going on here, because I actually like the way that turned out. And I'm almost done, buddy. I promise you, when I finish with the background part, I will come get you out of the tub, okay? But you're gonna have to go play for a little bit more.
Okay. I was gonna tell you when you're done, then I'm gonna get out.
Yeah. And I'm almost done, okay?
I want the red cup though.
I think I'm just gonna do these 2 basic background colors, and then I'll come and get you out of the tub. I should have started on this last week to actually have it done in time for Valentine's Day. I realize that my timing is a little bit off on that, and I apologize for that as well. I need to get better at time management. I think time management in general is my biggest weakness, and that's definitely something that I'm working on a little bit more. I never did get into my story about the terrible date I went on in college. We might have a little bit of time to get into that. Anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. So, I was perusing around on Tinder for a little bit, and I ended up coming across this dude. You know, not overly good looking, but I'm not like super, I don't know, looks aren't the most important thing to me. He hit me up, he asked me out. I decided, you know, sure, why not? Let's do it. And so, first of all, I had my grandmother drop me off in town. We decided to meet up at a location because it's just not safe for some guy that you've just met on the internet to know where you live. Or a girl for that matter, you know. Granted, for gay men and straight women and transgender people, the dating scene is a lot more dangerous than it is for straight dudes, but that doesn't mean that straight dudes can't get in trouble with psycho stalker chicks. Ta-da! Which is totally a thing that exists. So that's kind of rule number 1. If it's some dude that you just met up with on the internet, you either take your own car and meet up with him at a public place, or you have a friend or family member, you know, if you don't have your own car, which is just safe to do anyway, drop you off and make sure that before they leave they get a good look at the guy and a good look at his vehicle, and maybe even write down his license plate number just in case. Don't say I'm being paranoid, because stuff like that happens all the time. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. So, I had my grandmother drop me off at the bookstore in town. It's a Books A Million. And the plan was we were going to go get something to eat, and then we were going to go bowling. Well, For starters, he spent pretty much the whole entire date talking about how much money he makes and how rich his family is and how he's in line for a great big inheritance. The meantime, he's driving around in a car that looks like a Craigslist special, and we go to share a $5 pizza. Red flag right there. Not that I even care about the money, but it's the fact that he's going to tell me he's got all this money and then take me out on a cheap-ass date in a cheap-ass car and expect me to believe it. So after we do that, we go to the bowling alley. And oh no, guess what? It's closed on Wednesdays. Who could have seen that coming? I didn't know. I don't go bowling. But I get the sneaking suspicion that he did know, and he had the whole thing kind of set up in advance. So it's like, well, what are we going to do for the rest of the night? I know, let's go back to his place and chill. So we did. And of course, almost as soon as we get there, he starts getting super grabby and handsy. And I tell him right off, dude, I am not into that. You know, I don't do that kind of thing. And he'd back off for a little bit. And then after a while, he'd start getting super handsy and grabby all over again. I have to tell him to back off again. So after about the third time, I tell him, we're done. You know, I'm leaving. And of course, he's like, well, do you want me to take you home? It's like, no, you could take me back to the bookstore and I will get a ride home from there. You are not going to know where I live. Are you crazy? And that's pretty much how the date ended. It was pretty bad. Oh, and then he kept talking to me. Like, he found me on Facebook and he was just messaging me all the time. He's like the only dude I've ever had to ghost, because it's like he couldn't take the mess. He just couldn't take the hint. It's like, no, I'm not interested in you. No, we are not going out on another date. You're kind of creepy. Leave me alone. So it eventually got to the point where I just stopped talking to him altogether and had to block him from my Facebook. Excuse me, because he just wouldn't quit. Like, I haven't heard from him in a couple years, though, so he's not like a long-term stalker or anything. He eventually must have taken the hint after I blocked him and just moved on. It's like, again, found him on Tinder. Should have known better. I was like, that's what I'm saying. Oh. Hello. Welcome. I'm almost at the end of my live stream right now, but thank you for joining me. I do plan on posting it, you know, to my IG channel so that anybody who missed the full thing and wants to watch it can go back and watch the full thing if they're interested. Anyway, so that's like kind of what I'm saying, ladies, especially if you're meeting, or anybody, if you're meeting somebody off the internet, you gotta take precautions, you know, when going on dates with them. It's like, make sure you have 2 vehicles, if you've got your own, so that you're not stuck relying on him. Or if you're getting dropped off, make sure that you've got a friend or family member who drops you off and gets a good look at the guy before leaving, and that he kind of knows that that's what's going on. Because dudes that are trying to do things are less likely to try to do things if they feel like they're not going to get away with it, you know? Like, you don't need to let those dudes know where you live. Just don't put yourself in compromising positions to begin with. And don't be afraid to just say no and walk away, because I know that sometimes girls feel like they've got to be polite or submissive or whatever. It's like, nah. You got every right to just walk up and leave at any point during a date that you feel like you need to. It's like, not a problem. Go. I mean, so far I'm not completely unhappy with it. Like I said, I'm not thrilled with the blue color I've got going on here. I feel like I could have mixed that a little bit better. It's like, I'd like to keep live streaming, but the boy's been giving me problems. If you go back and watch the full thing, you will see. And he's out of the tub again. Hello, you.
taking so long?
Well, I've got to finish this part up at least, and then I will come take care of you,
The book? And you don't need to paint her, right?
Oh, I'm not going to paint her right now because I got to deal with you. But overall, I like the effect that I've achieved here. I am dropping my brush on the floor. I'm very happy with the effects that I've got through the background here. I'm okay with this. I feel like I needed a little more purple or a little more gray mixed in with these colors, and that they're just a little bit too blue. But, lesson learned. It's like, you can take classes to learn the fundamentals, but the best way to really learn any sort of art or trade is hands-on experience, and the more you do it, the better you get. There are little things that I'm unhappy with after I went back and looked at her after I inked her. I'm probably not going to fix because I'm trying to just make this a very quick piece that I'm painting here. The big thing is her wing. The way it's coming down, the bone structure of the wing should be coming this way and not this way. But it is what it is. Again, I'll remember to pay better attention to that next time. But I think that she's proportioned fairly nicely. The pose itself turned out well. She's got a cute face. And like I said, I wanted to keep this one, in order to keep it a quick piece, I wanted to keep it simple and dynamic overall. Anyway, I'm going to have to let you guys go. I didn't get quite as far as I wanted to this time, but I will definitely try to live stream more throughout next week. And again, I realize I should have timed this better, and I should have probably started her last week in order to get her done in time for the Valentine's holiday. But time management is another one of those things I'm working on. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about me if you like what I do. I've got to go beat a naked child and stay spooky, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.